Hi, welcome to episode 5 of StressKnits. I'm Stacy, also known as StressKnits on Ravelry and Stacy L. Stone on Instagram. There is a StressKnits Ravelry group that's relatively active. We have about 50 members, which is really awesome. So please go in and join the conversation. There is a knit along going along. There's a knit along going on, as well as the Indie Diary of the Month, which is Kristen of Wool & Vine Yarns. So just go ahead and join. It's down in the description. So let's get started. I just want to thank new and returning viewers. I really appreciate you coming back or checking me out for the first time. So thank you so much. Also, Kristen from the Yarngasm podcast and Wool & Vine Yarns, thank you so much for mentioning me on your podcast. I had a little bit of a fangirl moment when you mentioned this. I don't know, I have no words to describe how much that means to me, coming from like the first podcaster that I really watched. So thank you so much. So this is a knitting podcast and we're about a minute and a half in, so I'm going to tell you what is on the docket for today. I have some FOs, I have a half-finished object, some works in progress, some enabling, and some general knit-along news. So to start off, I have 2 finished objects. The first one is my rainbow long socks. So there are 2, but I didn't put the other one on a sock blocker for a reason. So this is Blue Moon Fiber Arts Socks That Rock Lightweight in the Wonderful Goodness colorway. I'm not really big on true rainbows. Like, what comes to mind with true rainbows is like the Knit Picks Felici yarn. That's the rainbow colorway. That's just a little too busy and bright for me. I don't know, it's just not my cup of tea, so I love that this is speckled in rainbow colors so that I could participate. So the Rainbow Knit Along is hosted by Diane of Suburban Stitcher. She's amazing, her podcast is wonderful, she makes beautiful project bags. So check it out and participate if you feel so inclined. But so this is what I knit. I did about a 3-inch rip. This is the Hermione's Everyday Sock pattern, but instead of just having 1 round of stockinette in between the pattern, I have 2. So there's that. I did the OMG heel again. This is the first sock. But is it? Yeah. The second OMG heel did go better. However, I still messed it up. I thought I would have been fine. I'm still doing something, so I'll have to try again and hopefully it gets better. But so I really love these socks. They fit really well. I blocked them with my Tuft Woolens bar, which is like right there. I have the Royal Apiary scent and it's divine. I understand now why people love Tuft Woolens so much. It smells so good and it makes your knit so soft. And the smell lingers and it's made my room smell really good. I love it. I don't know why I'm like dancing this foot around. So, finished object number 1. Finished object number 2 is another pair of socks. And these are my February socks. And here is the other one. 2 socks. So this is knit entirely out of Wool & Vine yarn because she is my Indie Diary of the Month. This is also one of the things that I'm knitting for the Indie Diary Along that I'm hosting. So the cuff, heel, and toe are all knit out of her Lush base in a one-of-a-kind skein called Cloudy with a Chance of Roses. The Lush base is sadly discontinued. It's definitely one of my favorites for socks. It is a merino cashmere nylon, an 80-10-10 respectively, and it's just so soft with such a high twist, and I love it. But, so that's this. And then this colorway is Pandora, and I knit the rest of the sock on her Straza base, which is an 80% superwash merino and 10%, not 10, that doesn't make sense, 20% nylon. And I love 80-20 sock bases. I love the sturdiness and I love the hand of them. So I really enjoyed knitting with her Straza base, and if I want to make socks out of her yarn, I think this is going to be my go-to. So I just love knitting these socks. I did 20 rows of ribbing, which for me is about 2 inches, and then a fish lips kiss heel, which is one of my favorites, and I think it is definitely worth the $1. You get so much information, which is incredibly useful and fun to read through. But if you just want the pattern for the heel, there's 2 pages, one for top down, one for toe up. That's all you need. But the information's really good too. So I love this heel. It's great. It's also really good for contrasting. It's really easy to just change the yarn. And then a rounded toe, which is a new to me technique. Since I have 56 stitches on the foot, I decreased at 7 points like you do on a hat, and then I just pulled it through. Yeah, so I really love these socks. They're super soft. I haven't blocked them yet or washed them. I don't really block my socks because I blocked, this is a tangent I didn't think I would go on. I blocked my socks, I have my full pile right there, on the Bryson sock blockers. And this is, I think I showed these off the second episode when I finished them, second or third. But I washed and blocked them, and it just stretched out the cuff so much, and I don't particularly care for that. So I like to wash my socks. I love the feeling. I also wash these with Tuft woolens. I don't know. So I don't know if I am all about the sock blocking. I love having sock blockers to show off my socks though in pictures and on the podcast. I don't know, they might just be the Bryson ones because I feel like they're really wide up top, but that might just be me. So 2 pairs of socks. I am very much on a sock kick right now, as you will soon find out. My half-finished object is another pair of socks. I cast these on a few days ago, and I had a very stressful Saturday, and so I stress knit. Podcast name. I'm silly today, I'm sorry. But, so I stress knit an entire sock on Saturday, and I also worked 7 hours at the desk on Saturday, so I had a lot of knitting time. So this is Hedgehog Fibers sock base. I thought it was the twist sock base, but this is her new sock base. 90% wool. I think it's just, is it superwash merino? Stash Enhancement spoilers. Yeah, superwash merino. 90% superwash merino, 10% nylon. I love this base. Her new base is not as soft, but it's still lovely. I love the fabric that it made. Also, all of my socks are knit on a US 1.5 2.5 millimeter. It depends on what sock needle I have available. I switch between Knitter's Pride Carbons, Knitter's Pride Dreams, and Tiago Needles. All 1.5s. My size 2 sock needles, which is what I started out on, are Haya Sharps, and I use that for more dense sock yarn, or when I'm knitting like Doug socks, I usually use a 2. It just really depends on the sock yarn. If it leans more sport, I usually use a 2. But anyway, this sock. So Hedgehog Fibers, it's in the birthday cake colorway because my birthday is in, today's the 8th, right? 12 days. So I want to get these done and wear them on my birthday. So I love this color. It's very out of my comfort zone, but I got this on a D-stash and it was a very reasonable price. So I couldn't help myself. So birthday socks. I did my usual recipe, but I switched it up and did an Eye of Partridge heel flap. I did it pretty short too. I don't know, just how I was feeling on Saturday. But I love these. I'm so excited that I'm finally knitting with this yarn. I've been eyeing it in my stash for a while, so I'm really excited that I did that. I'm gonna take a sip of iced coffee really quick. Okay, so works in progress. Speaking of my birthday socks, I cast on pair number 2 yesterday. And I knit part of the cuff yesterday, and then I knit the rest of this today at my desk shift. So so this is where I'm at. These are my size 1.5 Tiago Needles, 32-inch cords are my favorite. I love these needles to an extent, but they're slowly becoming my least favorite of the needles that I own. They were great. They were my first sock needles, but I think they're really harsh on my hands sometimes, especially when it's cold, so I think as it warms up, I'll start liking these more, but yeah, so that's where I'm at. Felt like I should say more about them, but I already talked about the yarn and everything with the finished sock, so we're just gonna let that go. I always stab my needles into the center of my cake. I don't know why. It's just something that I've always done. So I'm sorry if that's weird. I feel like I just lost my train of thought. We're gonna ignore what just happened in the last, 20 seconds, okay? Okay. So the next work in progress is a pair of socks that I'm knitting for my mom. So Mom, if you want to be surprised, just look away. If you don't care, I already showed the yarn last episode, so you probably can assume how it's knitting up. Yeah, so here they are. So this is Wool and Vine Yarns on her Stark sock base, which is also discontinued. This is a 75% superwash merino, 25% nylon. I think, I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure that's what it was. Yeah, and this was a misfit of one of her Vampire Romance Club colorways that I got as a mystery skein, because I did that 3 times in a row. 4 times in a row. I did it 4 times in a row. Yeah, so it's just really pretty. I like how it's knitting up. I think my mom's really gonna like it. So I just did a reinforced heel flap. I just picked up all the gusset yesterday. Those are gonna fall off. These are knit on my Knitter's Pride Dream needles. I love these needles. I really love these needles. I love Knitter's Pride cord too. So 32-inch again. They're great. I love them. I love these socks too. I think my mom will really like them. At least I hope she does. Yeah, so I really like how the heel flap. And the heel. Ooh, that's a lot of cord. Okay. I like this part too. So here's the cake. So I'm knitting her shorty socks because I don't think she likes long socks. I could be completely wrong, but so there are those. And then this is also part of Stash Enhancement, but I already warned you that once I got it, I was going to cast it on because I need to have this done by the time I go home which is going to be the 19th of February, which is my brother-in-law's birthday. And I will be seeing him on my birthday. And so I'm knitting him a hat. And I originally thought that this was going to be, what did I think it was going to be? A Windchief hat by Stephen West. But I decided to do a bankhead hat. So this is Malabrigo Rios in the Pearl 10 colorway. And I was a little nervous because in the skein, it leaned a little purple. And I was like, I don't know if Alex is gonna really like this. He did say that he didn't care what color I knit this hat, and I joked around. I was like, I'm gonna knit you a bright pink hat, and he would totally wear it because he's awesome and a good brother-in-law. But I don't know. I really like the way that it's knitting up, and I think he's really gonna like it too. I think it's gonna look really good on him. Yeah, so I finished the 3 inches of 1x1 ribbing. I think it called for twisted rib. But as much as I love the way twisted rib looks, I hate how long it takes. I'll do it on stuff like sweaters, but on hats, I don't think it really matters, to be perfectly honest. So I like the way 1x1 ribbing looks in general. So I did 1x1 ribbing, and I think I did the first row. I did the first row. So yeah, this is going to be worked on a lot this week because I want to have it done before I leave. Here is the skein. I think you can see how it kind of leans purple in this light. I think it really depends on the lighting. Sorry if the lighting is bad today, by the way. It's really gross outside. It's going to start snowing here pretty soon. Winter has made its reprise. It's gonna get really cold, and I'm kind of excited about it because I kind of thrive in the winter. It's definitely my time of year. So I have my lamp on, essentially, is what I'm trying to say. So the lighting's a little weird and not natural. So sorry if that bothers you. Usually I use the natural light, but it's too dark today. Even at high noon it was, I don't know why I said high noon. I don't say that. At noon, it was still really dark. Yeah, so that is all of the knitting. I have class tomorrow and all of its lecture. So last week I had tests. I have a test this week too, but I didn't get a lot of knitting done last week because of that. So I'll have, I will have more knitting done this week. At least I think I will. Yeah, so I'm sorry, I'm looking down at my show notes. It's a crutch, not going to lie. But stash enhancement. So last week I showed you, I think it was last week, my Regia Arnie and Carlos, and how I accidentally ordered a single ply white yarn. So I ordered, I think I ordered from Hot Yarns, upon Sarah's recommendation from Love Sock Wool. So I got a Regia in a cream color. So these are going to be socks at some point. I really love the way that these look. So heels, toes and cuffs, and the leg and the foot. So that's really cool. So there's that. I don't know why I'm losing my train of thought right now. And then, okay, so I'm really excited about this. I spoke about how Doug is a wonderful person and he understands my love for yarn. And when I saw this on a D-stash, I've been searching for this for a while. There's still one more club colorway that I'm obsessed with. I'll talk about that in a second. Oh, that's what I wanted to talk about. I'll just do that one off the cuff because I didn't write any show notes. But back to stash enhancement. I have just been obsessed with this color for a long time. I love hedgehog sock yarn. I don't think you can go wrong because you can knit a hat, you can knit a shawl, you can knit socks out of it. It's just great. I mean, you can do that with any yarn, but I think you can get the crazy colors and you can knit it into a Stephen West pattern, or you can make a really cool sockhead hat, or you can just make some really cool socks, and this is definitely going to be some socks. But this is Hedgehog Fibers sock in mint julep. Can we just talk about, okay, so this is like the perfect sea foamy green, right? And then there are just these shocks of like rust, and the more you just pull it apart, especially like just that shot of that pink, this is the most gorgeous skein. Gorgeous, that's not a word. Sorry guys, this is, you'd think that I was not in college right now. My brain is just so fried I almost said right now again. I'm gonna breathe for a second. Okay, this is the most gorgeous skein of yarn I have seen. Like, it's just that pink and the rust orange, which is like look at that. It's so pretty. And it's the old sock base, so it feels like a dream. It feels like there's cashmere in there. So I've just been loving on this since I got it. This was his birthday present to me, which is perfect. I love it so much. He is definitely the most wonderful person. And not just because he bought me sock yarn, but he just gets it. So there's that. But I was watching the Spicy Homemaker podcast, which is one of my favorites. She's super sweet. She was very encouraging during my first episode. She's just one of the nicest human beings. Well, one, she organized a swap between podcasters, and she was super sweet to include me. I only had like 2 episodes out at that time, and she's like, I think that you're gonna stick with this, so I'd love to include you. Is that okay? And I was like, of course. And I got paired up with Kemper of the Junk Yarn podcast, which made me really happy because I love Kemper. Her and Bill are very similar to Doug and I as far as their dynamics, and if you're into audio podcasts that are not about knitting, you should check out their new podcast called, I don't know if I'm going to be able to say this, Monogamous, I think that's what it's called. It's like a funny misspelling of monogamous, and I think it's funny, and their dynamic is just, they're wonderful. So you should check that out, and you should also check out the Junk Yarn podcast if you haven't already. If you haven't, you've probably been living under a rock for a while. She's just wonderful. So I'm really excited that I got to swap with her. And I don't know if you guys do this, but after a swap, and like you send out your swap package and you just think, you're like, I could have included this, or I could have included that. I shouldn't have included that. This would have been so much better. So I'm having that weird, like, swap moment where I'm just like, I could have sent her something cooler than what I sent her. But I'm still really happy with the package I sent. So I'm really excited to get hers in the mail. So one, Melissa, who's a Spicy Homemaker, organized that, which was amazing. And then she also talked about her knitting bucket list, and I thought that was so funny and so clever, because I have also thought, like, I will knit with this yarn. Like, I can't wait. I don't have the funds to buy it right now, but I will do it one day. And so I thought I would mention some of my yarn bucket list kind of thing. And I mentioned that there's a Hedgehog Fibers sock yarn club colorway that I have loved for a very long time. I check D-stashes for it on the regular. Like, it's, I don't know if I could pick between this and that one colorway. It happened a few years ago, but it's the Soda Pop colorway. Guys, I'm gonna be a little pathetic right now. If you have any scraps of that, and you want to do like a swap for minis, I will definitely take that. Like, that could be all you send me, and I send you like 12 mini skeins. I love that yarn so much. I want a full skein of it. That is the goal. But I want to knit some into my Cozy Memories blanket very badly. It's so pretty. I think about it a lot, which is weird, but I feel like all of us knitters have that yarn that we just dream about. So, Hedgehog Fiber Sock Soda Pop colorway on the yarn bucket list. Mustache Yarn is on the bucket list. I have not knit with hers. I've been there for some updates. I've stared, and it's usually during a time where I feel really guilty about buying yarn, where I've had like just binged on some yarn and bought it like around Black Friday. I bought a decent amount of yarn, like more than I should have, and then she had an update and I was like, I kind of want it, but I stopped myself, and I regret it every time. Her yarn is just so wonderful, so I'd like some mustache at some point. Also, Plucky Knitter. I would love to knit with some Plucky Knitter. I don't know if I would ever buy a sweater's quantity of it. I think that it would be an amazing sweater, but I just don't think I'm gonna ever be able to swing that, because one, I'm not very good at catching her updates. I've tried. I can't do it. So I'd like to try some of her yarn. Who else is there? There's a lot. I'm doing this off the cuff, so I'm not even thinking. I feel like there are certain colorways of dyers that I really love. I don't know, there's some Vine colorways that I'm really watching, and I mean, it's my birthday month, and I'm thinking about doing it just because it's my birthday. And I feel like all of us have that, like, treat yourself kind of thing for your birthday, so I might just bite the bullet and buy some Vine. She's having a club, and I have to be good because I'm saving for a wedding, so I'm not gonna do that. I'm just so excited to see what colorway she comes out with, because it's an Edward Gorey inspired colorways, so that's gonna be beautiful. Her Gashly Crumb colorway it's gorgeous. I still don't know what I'm gonna knit with it. I'm playing around with doing a doodler shawl with that, Jilted Rose, and Succulents. I don't know. I have really loud resonance sometimes, so if you heard that yelling or this yelling coming up, I'm sorry. But yeah, so yarn bucket list, I love all of that. So that Hedgehog Fiber Soda Pop, though, seriously, I will swap you all of the things. Or if you're de-stashing it, if you have some in your stash and you're like, you know, I love this, but I'm never gonna knit with it, PM me and I will buy it from you. Seriously, this is a colorway that my heart, it just sings to me, you know? Yeah, so there's that. That was a weird little tangent and kind of waxing poetic about a skein of yarn. They're really loud. Okay, so sorry about that. I'm sorry that I'm a little all over the place today. It's just one of those days. It's a Monday. I definitely have the Monday blues. That's not what it is. I have like the Monday just meh. It's Monday. I'm tired. Yeah, so anyway. Sorry that was such a long tangent. But knit along news. So we have the Indie Dyer knit along. That's going through the month of February and March. So I'll close the thread on April 1st. And yeah, so I'm going to be offering up mini skeins of my favorite indie dyers. So that'll be fun. I'm going to be, I don't know if this is a thing, but if you are an indie dyer and you want to donate a prize for the knit along, let me know. I just can't swing buying a full skein of yarn right now. My residents are so loud. Sorry. It's been a long day already. What was I saying? That was distracting. They're so loud. Okay, so indie dyers. Yeah, if you want to donate it, a skein, that would be really great. Do not feel pressure whatsoever if you're an indie dyer and you're watching this and you're like, I don't really want to. That's fine. If you want to, please message me. That would be lovely. Because I just can't justify buying a full skein to give away right now. Part of me feels a little selfish about that, but my stash is not very big. I think I have 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I have 7 skeins of yarn. 8, 9. So around 10 skeins of yarn, and I'm whipping through socks really fast. So I can't, like, you know what I'm saying? I don't have a big stash, so it's hard for me to just pull from my stash. Because everything has a plan, like nothing was just bought willy-nilly just to have it. Who was talking about that? The Wool Gathering podcast. They were talking about how their names. It's Meredith and the other one. Oh, I'm sorry. But they were talking about how they're very different, and one of them likes to buy yarn and have a big stash, and one of them likes to buy yarn as needed, and I am definitely a buy yarn as needed kind of person. Every now and then I'll buy some skeins that I'm like, I'm gonna adjust. I'm sorry. Like I just find this really pretty. I don't know what I'm gonna knit with it, but I just want to have it. Like I have those moments, but most of my moments are, generally speaking, I really want to knit this, and let me find some yarn, or I see a skein of yarn and I'm like, that would make the most beautiful shawl, or a wonderful pair of socks, or a nice hat, and like that's just how I knit. And also I'm a college student and I don't have the largest paycheck in the world with my job, so I have to be really careful and selective about what I buy. So that's why I'm not pulling from my stash or just buying a skein of yarn for this knit along. So I just wanted to clear that up. That's why I'm doing mini skeins, because I think a lot of us are knitting cozy memories blankets or crocheting a blanket with the little squares that are really, or hexagons that are really cute. And I just think it's something that we can all use for like little birds of happiness or stuffies of any kind, really. I think they're very usable. So yeah, so there's that. I'm also I can't talk today. I'm very distracted. I'm sorry. I'm participating in the box of socks knit along, hosted by Kristen of the Yargasm podcast, and I'm doing very well with that. So if you are a sock knitter or you want to knit at least 12 pairs of socks this year, you should check that out. I participated in the Rainbow Long Suburban Stitcher that I talked about earlier. Kemper of Junk Yarn is doing Finish It in Feb, and you just finished some Languishing Whips in February, which I love because I need to knit on some sweaters, guys. I have not touched either of my sweater in 2 or 3 weeks, so I'm gonna hunker down and knit on at least one of them this upcoming week. So there will be progress on one of my sweaters next week. So Finish in Feb is really great if you have a lot of whips on the needles. And then Molly of a Homespun House and the Wool Gathering podcast are hosting Fingering Weight February, which I'm participating in as well because I love fingering weight yarn. So the rules are in Molly of a Homespun House's thread in her Ravelry group. So if you're interested in that, you should check that out. But other than that, I don't think I can talk anymore. I'm a little talked out right now, so talking very fast. So I hope you have a wonderful week. I'm sorry that I was very distracted and scatterbrained in that my residents are really loud today. It's a Monday, so yeah, so I'm sorry about that, but I really hope you guys are having a great week and that you get to knit all the things that you want to. And yeah, so bye.